and Sagy. How are you, my friend, my brother? How have you been?
I'm good, brother. Good to see you. Good to have everybody here on this lovely day. And you're dressed white, and I'm dressed blue. Blue and white
It's
colors
blue and
of,
white,
of
baby.
Israel.
Blue and white. Any day, all day, every day.
This is just for people to know that the colors blue and white represent the sky and the light. So again, the people of Israel, they are connected with the Torah, with with the heavens, with this information that comes from above. And this is also why the colors of the flag are blue and white. And just another anecdote, why do we have the what we call the David Star, right? The Star of David. The Star of David is actually a very old symbol. Even many people in Israel and Jews don't know this. This is even an older symbol, older than the times of David. And some even claim that it was never represented the Davidic dynasty. So the old sayings say that they painted that Star of David on the shields, right? David was a warrior king that actually established the kingdom of Israel, and they say that they painted those stars on the shields, and that for the David's shield, it's called in Hebrew, Magen David, not David's star, but we call it Magen David, David's shield. But actually they say that it was never represented on the shield, but it is an older representation, and the deeper meaning of it is actually the establishing of kingdom of heaven on earth. It represents the two stars, the two triangles, sorry. A triangle that goes up represent the kingdom of earth. The triangles that goes down represent the kingdom of heaven. And when they come together, it represents the unity between kingdom of heaven and kingdom of earth. There's also the star tetrahedron. The tetrahedron is also there. If you take that star on a 3D dimension, it is actually a symbol both from the Kabbalah but also from sacred geometry.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to do probably with time travel or with energy movement and something very, very archaic. So that was just a few anecdotes about Israel. We wanted to speak about Israel and Judaism. Also in this podcast, we find it important, especially in those days when there's a lot of controversy and a lot of uprising in anti-Semitism, and us being from this land of Israel and that grew up on the tradition of Judaism, but we are actually secular, and we are open-minded people. We are connected with all over the world. You are living in the States. I was living both in the States and in Germany in particular, but also in Europe, and we are both international and multi-kulti. We want to show maybe a different side to Israel in our podcast. So this will be again the topic of today, but
Yeah.
you wanted to pinpoint it on something special.
Yes. So today's episode, I thought a very fitting name would be somewhere along the lines of Victory Against All Odds. And it's something that
You don't
I've
mean
been thinking
the
about.
victory in a war, right?
No, just victory in general, victory against all odds. Against when you think that there's no way for you to be victorious, whether it's in war, whether it's in a game, whether it's in a show, whether it's in a competition of some sort, or anything that really puts you uh, at a competitive survivalist situation. And I would say that yes, so victory against all odds. And the reason why I've decided that we should talk about this today is because of just recently two things that brought it to my attention. The first one was a movie that I've been watching last night. It was called Cool Runnings. And for those of you who are not familiar with that movie, it speaks about a group of random people from Jamaica who wanted to compete in bobsledding in the Olympics. And whether they win or lose at the end of the movie, not relevant. But everybody laughed at their faces. Whenever they tried to get the funding, people have just been laughing at them, all kinds of investors and stuff like that. Eventually, they found John Candy, who was acting as their trainer, who was an ex-athlete. And he was the only one who really, truly believed in them. Somehow they managed to round up the money, fly all the way out to Switzerland, and they started training. They got to the qualifying tournament, and everybody was laughing at them. Everybody did not believe in them, and they were like, "You're completely out of place. You don't belong here. You shouldn't be doing this. Go home." So it got me to thinking, this is not the first time something like this is happening. And it's not, in our case, in Israel, for example, this is not us trying to do something that we haven't done before. In fact, now we're talking about the Eurovision. It is something that we have done before. We've won before, more than once. But now we stood little chance to get anywhere close to where we did. If I'm not mistaken, we were what, second place in Israel?
Yes.
Our beautiful, what was her name? Our champion?
No, no.
It will be in the description below. It will be in the description below, the name of our champion. But I don't follow it just because I don't do Eurovision. It's not my music style, just the same as it isn't your music style or the type of pop culture that you are into or anything like that. But with that being said, if I'm not mistaken, we've won second place.
That's true.
It is impossible with today's situation, with what's going on in Israel and what the whole world thinks of us, whether it be lies or true, that's not relevant. But with all the hate, with all the negativity, with all of the "you're not gonna make it, you're not worth it, don't even try, go home," and all the protests and all this and that going against our champion, just as soon as she even got off the plane to go and compete, we got to second place. That's second place, okay? And there are many countries to compete. And I think it's a big deal, and I think it goes to show us something and tell us something. So I wanted to know, Sagi, what do you think of that situation?
Well, let's start with talking about the word victory, right? So the word victory in Hebrew is nitzachon. And nitzachon, the derivative or the root derivative of this word is netzach. Netzach also means netzach means in Hebrew eternity.
Eternity.
So victory and eternity or eternal are connected in the Hebrew language, which means you can look at it and the mind can easily understand the connection, right? We do things because we want to achieve first place. We want our name to be remembered. This is also something that is very unique to the people of Israel. They're also called Anshei Hashem, the people of the name. Because God, one of the names of God is Hashem, which literally means the name, right?
Thy name, yep. Blessed he thy name, blah, blah, blah. Same idea.
And you make a name for yourself. We also have the saying in English, to make a name for yourself, right? Is like to be known in something, or that your name comes, echoes into history, into the pages of history, and therefore into eternity. Names like, Aristotle, or Alexander the Great, or Moses, right? Or even Michael Jackson or Michael Jordan, nowadays superstars. Those names are going to echo into eternity, or at least what we can grasp for a long, long time. So there is a very direct connection between victory and eternal or eternity. The thing is that in Hebrew or in Kabbalah, in Hebrew Kabbalah, eternal Netzach is also one of the spheres, right? There are the 10 spheres that belongs to the Kabbalistic tree, and this entire evolution between, or when heaven is descending to earth, and when heaven is becoming alive, real in this reality, there is a correlation between there, heaven, and here, and how it comes down to earth and how it's being played here on earth. We have a Kabbalistic tree to tell us, okay, the information goes here and there until it established here on earth. So we start with Keter, which is the information that
Crown.
comes from the eternal, right? The one.
The crown, yeah.
The crown, and it gets to Malchut, kingdom, which is here on earth. And through that line, it also goes to one sphere, which is called Netzach. Netzach is one sphere, or eternal. Eternity is one sphere. It's actually the leg, one of the leg, the right leg of this Kabbalistic tree. And it needs to be balanced by Hod, which means grace, right?
Mm-hmm.
Grace, Hod. So Kabbalah is understanding that victory and eternal are a dimension that belongs to not only to the human perspective, but because we are made in the image of God, of Elohim, then it must be a characteristic of God. So God itself has that characteristic of eternity, which we also know of, but the derivative of it is victorious, right? To be victorious of. And if we look at the Bible, we see that God is but is emphasizing that He is the one. And taking the people of Israel out of Egypt and into the land of Israel and conquering all of those other tribes and other peoples that were here, and emphasizing there is one God, there is a unity. Through victory, you establish eternity through victory, but then remember, this is only one leg, and we are people, we stand on two legs. We have to balance it with grace, with Hod. So, going back to, we can go back to talk about the war, but let's first talk about the Eurovision. And I think this has been established exactly there. For second place is not victory, it's not total victory. It might be against all odds considered to be a victory, but
Yes.
I think it's also reflecting grace. It reflects the other side, the other leg, the balancing leg, which is grace. It reflects grace because people listen with the heart. We hear with our ears, but we listen with the heart. So you might come to any given situation with judgments and preconceptions and whatever triggers that you have inside of you. But in the end, if something is beyond good or bad, beyond right or wrong, it touches your heart. It goes through all of the barriers that your brain might have, and it reaches your heart, it touches your heart. And that is what leads people to open up and eventually to say, well, you know what? The song is what matters. The emotions portrayed in that song are what matters. The performance is what matters, not the performer.
It's the journey. It's the journey. It's not the destination.
Yes.
It's what we did to get there. It's the song. It's the hard work that we put
In
into
this
it.
case, it's not even the destination. It's the background, right? It's where that person comes from. It's not even his destination, but his origin in that case,
Yeah.
right? So, and this is the beauty, I think, of where this 21st century is going through all the commotion and the balagan and the, trying to bring this humanity into a better place and saying who's right and who's wrong. Eventually and evidently, people's hearts is stronger than the limiting brains, than separation that is happening in society, even than religion, and especially stronger than politics. And it's saying we want the heart to navigate us into this life. If something feels right to me, I want to follow that. If I feel connected to something, I want to stand behind that, It's not about what my brain tells me, what, whatever tells me. It needs to come from here. I want to be connected to it. I want to feel. That song moved me. The words moved me. The lyrics moved me. The rhythm moved me. Something touched my heart. And I am standing behind it. And this is, I think, the beauty of what we've seen in the Eurovision.
And I think that's really what points to true victory. When you think about it, that is the true victory. It's how you perceive all the efforts that you put into whatever it was that you were trying to achieve. I think that is where true victory is,
Yes.
And it's and the fact that we've managed to get that, to me, is a great source of pride, because after all, these are our people. After all, these are our people. They represent where we come from. Maybe they don't necessarily represent us as individuals. Obviously, everyone has their own way of doing things. Everyone has their own opinion, their own side, when it's politics, whether it's whatever. But they do represent our home. They represent our families. They represent our way of life. And, it makes me really happy to see that against all odds, we were victorious, not by, taking a golden cup or or a medallion or whatnot, but by achieving all the results of all the efforts that we put forward. And it should always be a good point of of teaching to other people that yes, you could do this against all odds. If you think you don't belong somewhere, if you think that this is too much for you, if you think you are not enough to do this or that, you can do it if you truly believe in it. And like you said, stand behind it.
I think what we're seeing here now is humanity finally standing behind the true core values that we have as humans. And these core values transgress any political agenda, even religions, definitely origins of country and state, because I've been, not only traveling the world, I've been living in the big world. I have many people that I'm connected to from all 5, 6, 7 continents, right? I don't know anybody from Antarctica, so 6 continents. And I have sat with people, talked with people, worked with people, journeyed with people, have had adventures with people. And I can tell you that in our core, we are truly made by image of God, meaning we have the same values. We all want to live in harmony. We all want the next generation to thrive. We all want to live a decent life where we have enough that we don't have to break our necks to get what we need. And once we have that, we are more than happy sharing it with others. So this is maybe, the most important point is that we get humanity beyond that state of survival. And you've mentioned it earlier in this conversation. Getting people beyond the state of survival is the key for allowing people to share, to live happily, and to accept others. Because once I understand that I don't need to fight over that piece of bread, that I don't need to fight over that piece of bread of land, that I have it, that it's secure, right? Then I'm happily sharing the rest, and I'm happily enjoying what I have. That is in the key fundamentals of our humankind. And I believe people are standing now on those or by those key elements. They are saying, that's it. We want to achieve that all over the world. All over the world. So we are really moving beyond not only religion, but also nationalities. Now, this will still happen in the near future, that we have nationalities, but you can already see that they are becoming less meaningful. Show me one country or one state that has only people from that state, original people from that place. It doesn't exist anymore.
No.
It doesn't exist anymore.
No.
Show me one place, one country where you find only the language of the place. Even that doesn't exist anymore, right? You got people mixed all over the world. You got internet connecting us. You got transport connecting us. And moreover, you got the will of the people that wants to connect. People want to see this and or that land. They want to enjoy food from different countries. They want, their iPhones or their clothes, and that doesn't come from their land. It comes from all over the world. The know-how is being exchanged from all over the world.
Yeah, I mean, just a simple fact, world trade, that right there, meaning that we're still, like, we have been trading with the rest of the world for the longest time, and thus, implementing certain types of migration from one place to another that requires things that require basically for us to have a representative in this country, in that country, and from their country, in our country, and in this country, in that country. So it's a constant. It almost seems like, you know what, this human nature that you were talking about, of us wanting to expand out and to reach out and to be with others and have others with us and mix and what's the word, mingle. Yeah, it's something that we've been doing for a very long time, historically speaking. So we've been a mixed race for a very long time. And I mean very, very long time, since ancient history. It's moving a lot faster now. But along with that, there also comes a certain type of division, especially because of the internet, I think. Though the internet connects us, but it also allows to show certain dark aspects, which are something that we have been turning a blind eye to and that we need to start paying attention. And it's not just to... I'm sorry?
Division is also necessary, right? But division, we need to look at it like that. Imagine your physical body, right? There's evidently a division between your right hand and your left hand. There's a unique distinction between your leg and your arm, or your nose and your mouth, or your liver and your heart, or your kidneys and your, whatever. There's a distinct, so to say, separation between the organs and the body parts. And it's important because each of them needs to do a specific job, right? Your liver is constantly producing liver cells, and they are encoded in a certain information that allows the cells to do the job for the liver to function as such. If the cells of your liver will start having the information of your kidneys, then your liver will be mixed up and try to do the work of the kidneys, but that won't work, of course. And that goes for the entirety of your body. So we need to have that hitmachut בעברית, that specification. Sorry? Specialty, exactly. So this is important, that this would also continue. With that said, your body is one entity, right? Imagine that your liver will declare war on your kidney, or that your right hand would stop taking the information that comes from your brain, telling her where to move, and she will start moving according to her own agenda, right? That is not only ridiculous, it will be also probably the end of your physical body. So we need to start seeing exactly that as a format for humanity. We need that sort of specification. We need it to understand what are they good for and what are they specifically designed to do here on earth, but work as one, as a global entity that is called the human race, and work together in that. Not that the right hand fight the left hand and the leg is keep trying to kick the forehead and the mouth trying to bite the elbow, and the kidney goes to war against the liver and whatever. This is what is happening on earth for the last over 2,000 years. We need all of that to stop.
That is called basically making sure that mankind worldwide does something that is extremely challenging to do. Unlike your body, your hand will always cooperate with other parts of your body, right? Why? Because it is selfless. Whereas us as humanity, we have a problem and we need to start looking outwards, because we need to not be selfish, we need to be selfless. We need to start acknowledging that we're working as one entity. We need to make sure that this is mankind as a whole, and not just a bunch of divisions and every one of them are operating separately, completely. There are many people in this world who are trying to separate us. There are many people in this world who are trying to create this division, this hate, this distance between us. It's enough that we have distance between ourselves that was created over time, and also borders between countries and borders between people and cultures and all this and that. But there are people who are, that's almost kind of like they're running this fear, paranoia, and all division tactic in order to get what they want. That is the selfish behavior that we should, as human beings, to try to avoid.
You've hit it right on the spot, or right on the money. Selfless or selfishless, let's say it like this.
Selflessness.
selflessness.
Selfless, yeah,
I do
selfless,
believe in the
selflessness.
self, I do believe in the self, and this is my work is a lot about self-empowerment. There's a lot of self over there, self-care, self-empowerment. But
Yeah,
in the end is understanding that selfishness or self being selfish
yeah,
would only limit you, would only bring you to that far and not beyond that.
correct.
And just if we look at Judaism and Kabbalah or Christianity and what Jesus has been telling us, right? It is exactly about that. Both are speaking about it, by the way. Kabbalah and Jesus are talking about being love, loving your brother as yourself. ואהבת לרעך כמוך. Love your brother as your next, love your neighbor as your next. I think this is how they say
Yeah,
it in
basically,
English.
love those. לרעך כמוך. So that basically means לרעך כמוך. Can you tell me
ואהבת
really quick
לרעך
what that
כמוך
means?
means literally means love your brother or your friend as you would love
As
yourself.
you would love yourself, right?
And I think in Christianity it goes love your neighbor as your next. The whole idea is being selfless, understanding that what you want for yourself, taking care of yourself, equals to taking care of your brother, of your neighbor, of your next in line, of your friend, of whoever is there with you. And the Kabbalah is saying to us that actually it's all about that. We won't get into it completely right now, but the Kabbalah is saying it's actually telling the individual, you don't need to take care of yourself, you just need to take care of your friend. But of course, how would you sustain it? So the Kabbalah is speaking about the original 600 Israelites that received the Torah on Mount Sinai, in Ma'amad Har Sinai, in Chorev. And this is happening the day after next, by the way. The day after next is Shavuot, is Matan Torah, is when we celebrate Shavuot or Pentecost. And so the idea is for us to understand I am sufficient. I am being taken care of. I don't need to run after my own tail. Get out of the survival mode. Understand that I have actually enough, that God is continuing to provide, and actually you don't need to go that far, right? You can look outside and you can look at nature. Of course, God created nature, but for those who are atheists or who are having a hard time to believe, look at nature. Nature is constantly providing us, constantly giving us, constantly. So we are allowed to step back from that constant chasing of the survival and the needs and start taking care of the people around us and beside us. And this is literally what the Israelis are for themselves. I mean, I'm constantly seeing this in the Israeli people. I just came from spending a few hours on Segi Netzeret, the Sea of Galilee, Kinneret. And again, the people are sitting there in tents beside each other and talking with each other, and there's always somebody brings food and sharing it with other people, and it's beautiful to see. Of course, there's also commotion, and of course, there's also trouble, of course. But the essence of the thing is of communal and sharing and taking care of each other and really caring for each other. And this is beautiful.
It is beautiful. It is beautiful. This is a message that definitely needs to be moved and constantly pushed forward, is to care for each other. It's the selfless behavior. It's the selfless mentality, right? I mean, and how great does it feel? I mean, it feels amazing. It feels amazing. I would not trade that feeling for anything, It makes you feel like you really are together, and that, that sense of togetherness is a lot of times hard to find in places where people distance themselves from each other. It is very unfortunate. Now, I'm not saying that distancing from each other is always something that is constantly being implemented by an exterior source, whether it be government or a big religious organization or a lot of times some cultures are just colder than others, they're not all open and smiling. Yalla, chafcha, how you doing? Kapara, ma matzam? Yalla, bring the hummus, bring the this, yeah, kapara. How's mother? How's father? Good. How are your friends? Good, good. Good to see you. Blah, blah, blah. Very Israeli, right? We've come from that mentality. We know. We know what's good. We love it. Fuck. I miss it so much. But it's okay. There are other places in the world, they're not necessarily sharing that. And I think because it's a certain type of oppression of emotions, I think, that does make certain parts of the world kind of envious of where we stand. And I think that's also what makes us very united with each other back home in Israel, It's the fact that we only have each other. We don't have other countries that share our values, at least not 100% of them. That we owe it to ourselves to be together for each other, selflessly and genuinely for each other. And basically survive and spread the message and be constantly victorious at that against all odds.
It was beautiful, brother. And let me also say one last thing is Jesus reminded us that the path, the doorway is love. And the Kabbalah is saying, "V'ahavta l'racha kamocha." Love your next as you love yourself. So what is the problem? Why don't we see it enough happening and around the world? The key is yourself. Love your next as you would love yourself. We have forgotten what it means to love ourselves. Most of us have grown in a harsh environment, and especially an unwelcoming emotionally environment, meaning we have been learned to suppress our emotions, to ridicule our emotions, not to express them, especially in the male communities or groups. And once we do that, then we are depriving ourselves from that love, because what does love mean? It means an abundance of receiving. Abundance of receiving. And once we suffocate that and we suppress that love inside of us, may it be happiness, may it be joy, may it be security, may it be laughter, whatever it is that we've been told from young age, don't shout so much, don't laugh so loud, don't run so much, so fast, don't eat so much, don't do this, this is not allowed, this is dangerous, blah, blah, blah. You don't do this, we don't do that. All of this have taught us to keep it down. And that is suffocating. That doesn't allow the kli to open up, the vessel to open up and to receive the love, not from God and not from others. And therefore, we don't know how to give it to the next, how to love the next as we love ourselves, because we don't remember how to love ourselves or how to allow love reach us, how to open our hearts. Therefore, we see a lot of movement around this self-love. Yes, self-love can lead to egoism and narcissism, most definitely, but it's a necessary step. Or not necessarily narcissism, but self-love is a necessary step towards love and abundance of love, so I can share it with others. Because as I said, most of us forgot, most of us are closed off, we don't love ourselves, we are very critical when it comes to ourselves. We judge ourselves constantly. We don't allow ourselves to be expressed or to enjoy life. This has to change. This is the time to change it. And while we do that, we should allow ourselves also to share that love, to express that love, and to give to others exactly as we want God and creation to give ourselves.
And may we share this love with everyone, and may we be victorious against all odds just by sharing. And if everyone who is watching and listening, if you have liked this video and everything that you've heard in this particular episode, do feel free to give us a like, a share, feel free to subscribe. And remember that we're always here. We're going to continue doing this. We're going to continue sharing the love and the positive messages that we have to share with the world, just to help make the world a better place. Thank you all very much. We love you all. Take care.